Tony,
Hello.
great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with, because it's fascinating and frightening, frankly, the power of the deep state right now.
Right.
And their ability to blunt the power of the President of the United States with leaks, with disinformation. It's extraordinary. We were told that 3 leakers had been identified, at least 3, and there would be consequences, presumably firing, and we have heard nothing since. What do you make of it?
Well, 2 things. First, I'd like to believe this is going to be diligent but detailed. And Lou, you got to get all the scoop. You got to be very thorough. I'd like to believe they're going to make this stick. You've got to make examples of these folks. And frankly, this relates directly to the unmasking and some very horrific things. And you know, one of our folks, a good friend of mine, Dennis Kucinich, you've had Dennis on before. Dennis is one of those folks who recognizes that it's truly Orwellian to think of some of the potential damage that's been done by people on the inside doing these sorts of leaks and these sorts of compromises. Well, so I think you've got to basically document everything, and then when you document it, you've got to be able to be willing to go all the way regarding a prosecution, and that's going to be another piece of this.
Yeah, and it is truly Orwellian when we have a national left-wing press that has given one president a free ride for 8 years, and now we learn his passivity, his aversion to action and responsibility. It has led to immense threats against national security, and he has strengthened our enemies. And I'm referring specifically to President Obama and his 8 years in office.
Right.
And now President Trump is faced with threats on seemingly from every quarter and a media that is subversive.
Look, you've hit the nail on the head, Lou. Look, what you said is the key. President Obama took the elements of nation state and turned them internally on his enemies. Think about this. The great power, the great good that can be done with effective intelligence collection, with the great technology that's been developed by our intelligence community, was turned on its ear to focus on internal political threats, not the external threats. That's exactly what we're living with here. So to fix that, to fix the change of momentum, the past 8 years momentum is going to take some time. I think President Trump is learning right now, Lou, that the people who helped elect him ain't necessarily the right folks to help drain the swamp. You got to have people with a certain level of understanding of the swamp to be able to chart a course into the swamp to start draining it effectively. And I think that's another part of what the president's trying to do right now.
I would question one thing in this, and that is the idea of time. Washington seems to regard a clock as an anachronism, and really we need to accelerate our efforts rather than sort of plod along. If we have to, so many smart people, surely there must be amongst them some who are not plodders. Maybe a couple.
Lou, you and I both know when we first met years ago and started talking, I was fighting the deep state years ago, and one of the most effective tools the deep state has is wasting time, wearing you down. And that's part of the strategy they're doing right now. They're trying to wear down the president.
So let's crank it up.
And I'm ready to crank it up. And I think this is another thing. Personnel is policy. President Trump has to pick the right people who are going to run at his pace. A lot of the folks he's picked, Lou, sadly, are not keeping up with him, and I think he's starting to recognize that.
Yeah. And if we put it in no other terms, find some people with his energy and his work ethic and integrity.
Right.
That's all. That's what we need.
That's it. And I'm with you. And I think he's looking in that direction.
And we make it sound so simple.